Welcome everybody out to podcast number 320. Are you being held up by the superintendent on the project? If so, stay with us. We know what to do.
This is the Elevate Construction Podcast, delivering remarkable content for workers, leaders, and companies in construction wanting to take their next step. Get ready to step out of your comfort zone with Jason Schroeder as he encourages you to do better, live a remarkable life, and expect more. Let's go.
Welcome everybody. I hope you're doing well. I've been getting feedback on a key topic recently that trade partners or foremen would be performing on projects if they had a superintendent that understood proper principles and were organized and had a schedule. And while I agree with that to a certain extent, I also have to say there are ways for us to get around that, and we're going to talk about that tonight. So our topic really centers around what to do if you are working for an incompetent superintendent. And I don't mean this to be negative. I don't mean this to be mean. I'm just saying that this is a reality and we have to really, find a way to move forward and not be victims. And so I'm excited about this topic. So we'll go ahead and talk about that tonight. But I hope you're doing well, and I really hope everything's working for you in your life. Again, Elevate Construction, we do project recovery, training and boot camps, consulting. In fact, I'm flying out tomorrow morning with the team to do a boot camp in South Carolina, and we're just going to have a great time. I'm going to let that go. We are going to have a great time. By the way, while we're there, we're going to hijack Adam Hoots and talk about production laws while we're there for the next 4 podcasts. You're going to absolutely love it because they apply to everything that we do. So the way Adam puts it is that you can't fight against those production laws. You can't bump up against them. You can't go against those rules because it will literally come back and bite you, or you'll at the very least you'll lose productivity. So what am I excited about in life? I'm excited about Elevate Construction further developing our mission and our content. Where we're headed is having the ability to provide the most addictive, most relevant and useful, and the fastest construction training for our folks in the field so that we can get everybody where they want to go, not where I want them to go, where they want to go. And as Rachel and other folks come on and start to support projects, we'll scale Takt planning faster. We will scale operational excellence faster. We will scale these courses, personal organization, team balance and health, the integrated production control system, lean, last planner, scrum, all of these systems, Takt planning, faster and faster and faster, and with more impact, so that we start seeing the results of this and overcoming the horrible things that are happening in the industry. So that's what I'm really passionate about right now. And so let me head into the feedback. I'm going to cover for the next little bit some of the really great feedback that we got from Superintendent Bootcamp. I think I've mentioned this one other place, but I'll do it one at a time as we go forward. The Super Boot Camp was an amazing experience that will not only give you the skills to be a better superintendent, but more importantly, it gives you the skills to be a better person. So that's our feedback from our fans tonight. And here's our conflict. You're waiting for someone else to map out your destiny on site, and you cannot wait. And I just want you to know that throughout and here's my little story, and this is probably indicative indicative of a weakness of mine, but I do have to say this has been the kind of my life story. If there isn't a way, I'll pave a way. If there's somebody on the project and they're holding me back, I'll step on their toes and get it done. I in the book Elevating Construction Superintendents, I talked about a story in there where there was a superintendent that was in charge of the interior scope, and I was in charge of all of the mechanical, the site work, all of the systems. And I put together the schedule for the interiors because we can't wait. And he was needlessly perfecting this plan over and over, just nerding out over it and being ridiculous and saying things to me like, you can't make a schedule and show it to trade partners before it's perfect. And I was like, well, watch me. Like I'm going to come out here and I'm going to coordinate with the trade partners. Like that's what I'm going to do. And the senior superintendent, I've never ever heard of this or seen this anywhere else, literally walked both of us out there and said, Jason, you are now in charge of this work, and you are no longer in charge of this work. You and the other person started to be like, well, what about this? And the superintendent said, hey, you don't have to worry about that anymore. Jason's in charge of this now. And I remember the concept, and that stuck with me. Don't ever wait for somebody if there's incompetence or waiting or needless striving for the minute, irrelevant details of being perfect instead of excellent. Then we just have to move forward. And so I have a lot of sympathy for foremen and people that are out there working, and the superintendent is a roadblock, right? So on the project site, you have your superintendent, and then the superintendent, I'll say oversees or directs the work of foremen. But I got to be honest with you, and I had this feeling probably about 10 years ago. I was in a superintendent meeting, and I was like, wow. Like, and don't get mad at me because I'm a super. Like, hey, I'm gonna say it how it is. I was like, we kind of suck. Like, there's a lot of us that just have no idea what we're doing. PMs, I mean, it's a different role, but they're like better trained. Like, I don't even know how to explain it. Like, there's just a lot of stupid things that we say, and we have to get it together. And I've just find that a lot of times you will find that the super doesn't know what she or he is doing. And that's unfortunate because that affects the performance of the foreman. So what do you do if you're a trade partner or if you're a foreman, even in self-performed work, working for a superintendent that doesn't know what he or she is doing? Well, I'll tell you, you do the right thing. There's a concept the other day that I was reminded of, and I'll see if I can explain it again, is that if I expect nothing, and if I appreciate everything and show the right, appreciation for even the little things that I get, so I appreciate everything, and then I do the right thing, that is a pattern that will lead to being non-emotional or not emotional. Okay. But I will still get it done. Okay. Let's talk about the other way. You expect everything. And so, there are people out there, and God bless them, they expect everything to be handed to them. They don't appreciate what they get, right? They don't say thank you. They don't look for those little blessings. And they respond as a victim. And that doesn't work out because they get emotional, and then they engage in bad behavior. And I want to talk about this right now. If I expect nothing and appreciate everything and still do the right thing, that means that I didn't expect anything. So nobody took anything away from me. I didn't get emotional. I appreciate everything, even the little things that people do, even though it might not be exactly what I wanted. Right. And then, but I'm never not under the obligation to do the right thing, ever. So let's look at this with my kids. Okay, I don't expect anything. I mean, I have high expectations of their life, and I will coach them, but I don't expect anything from them for me. So I expect nothing. I appreciate everything. I do the right thing. So if I do that, then if they disappoint me, it's not a big deal. Whatever they do well or right or whatever appreciation I can show, I show that appreciation. And then if there are consequences that need to be doled out or positive reinforcement, I do the right thing. I can be like, hey, hey, kiddo, I saw that you didn't do that. I'm not mad about it because, I don't need that for me. And I appreciate all the times that you do well. In this instance, these are the consequences for acting like this. I can do that in a non-emotional way and still get it done. Now let's reverse that. Let's say that I expect everything. I expect things from people. I don't appreciate what they're doing for me, and I respond as a victim. So somebody didn't give me what I needed, right? So didn't give me what I expect. I don't appreciate the good things that they did. And so I start to get emotional and respond like a victim, and I engage in bad behavior. And it's because somebody took something from me because I expected something for me, right? And when I expect nothing, nobody can take anything from me because I didn't expect anything for me, but I'm still obligated to do the right thing. And the reason that I mention that is that when we're on a project site, if we're in the whole, I expect everybody to do everything for me, and I don't appreciate the good things that they do, and I respond like a victim, then I'm going to get bad results. But if I go out there and be like, hey, I got this, I'm going to appreciate everything I get, and I'm going to do the right thing, then I'm going to go win. And here's what I mean by that. When I'm talking about foremen or trade partners out there on the job doing the right thing, if you're superintendent, let me say this. The worst thing a superintendent on a project site can do is run around creating variation. Move into that area, change your plans over here, stop there, we're on pause there. Let's go ahead and shift this over. Can you completely resequence that? Fighting fires. A lot of, and somebody on a LinkedIn post once said, are you kidding me? But somebody said, and I agree with it. It was on a LinkedIn post that superintendents get addicted to their adrenaline. That okay, I'm out here, I'm fighting traffic. I'm running traffic. I'm going to respond. Let's do this. Let's go there. I'm needed. Everybody's depending on me. Oh my gosh, I got another phone call. Oh, I'm so busy. You get addicted to that adrenaline, right? And it's irresponsible. And somebody that does that doesn't, I want to be clear. I want to offend the other 50% of the podcast and make it even difficult for my numbers to get higher. If there's a superintendent doing that, they have zero idea what they're doing. If you go into here's how you can tell a superintendent knows what they're doing. You walk in their project, it's boring, stable, like it's synchronized, on a rhythm, clean, safe. Deliveries are on time, and everybody knows what they're doing. And a worker goes home and their husband or their wife says, "How was work today, honey?" I did great work. I love what I'm doing. It's kind of boring. Like there were no safety incidents. There was no drama. There was no running around. There's nothing for me to complain about. I had everything I needed today. So, if you need drama in your life, hey, honey, let's start an argument. Let's like just randomly argue right now, because it was pretty boring. That's the sign of a good superintendent. As soon as you see a super step out of a meeting to answer a phone call, and if it has anything to do with anything other than an absolute like life and death safety emergency, and they're like, oh, let me take this real quick, let me run over here, oh, I got to answer that question, oh, somebody's in my office, oh, I got to run over to the inspector, oh, I got to do this, I got to do that, you automatically know they have no idea what they're doing. Those type of people are a dime a dozen, and anybody can do that. My 5-year-old can go do that, but only a true leader can create stable environments in a non-emotional way. So what I'm saying is, if you are out there working and being victimized, quite frankly, not that you're going to act like a victim, but being victimized by a superintendent that doesn't know how to get flow and to protect flow, then this is what I suggest you do. First of all, it's like some industry secret for some reason that we need trade flow. Like I said, and don't get mad at me, but CPM schedules, you can barely see it, but it's work. You can only see workflow. Tax planning, where you summarized everything into tax sequences with tax wagons. Again, you can see the workflow, you can see the trade flow, and you can see the logistical flow. There ain't no way we're going to get this job going well if we don't see all three types of flow. So it's like some industry secret for some reason that we need this. Like I was talking to Felipe the other day, and he put me on the spot with some kind of question, and I thought I did pretty well, and he liked it. But I said, it's kind of like, what do they call earthquake triangles? What did they tell us when we were kids? If there's an earthquake, get under your desk, right? Yeah, and then scrunch into your desk. If you're watching me, like, get under your desk. well, if the roof comes down and it kind of goes like that, that's the worst place you can be, because you're gonna be all scrumpled under here like this. So where should you really go in an earthquake? They call them earthquake triangles, I think. But if you have a desk or the teacher's desk or a big piece of furniture or a couch or something, what they say is go get scrunch down, scrunch, I don't know if that's the word, but it's down next to it. That way, when the ceiling falls down, it will lay on top of the desk, and there's a little safety triangle. These little safety triangles, when they go in after earthquakes, and they do like a forensic analysis of what happened. The people that are taught to go crunch, hide under desks, like everybody's dead like that. But what they found out was there's a common theme in those things is that you'll find these little safety triangles next to these objects. So like for some stupid reason, I was taught as a kid in California growing up to go hide under the desk. It's like some secret. Like when you think about it, it's pretty common sense, right? But that was my little example. For some reason in our industry, like the only main thing that matters in our industry, because workflow is important, but we have to have a balance of workflow and trade flow. But people are ignoring this. So here's my point 100%. And I'm not dissing superintendents. I'm just telling you how it is. Unless they've read my books, and I'm not being selfish, I'm just saying that it's very rare for them to do this, or they've taken advanced scheduling training, or they've been to one of the boot camps. They are not paying attention to the trade flow. Most general contractors, God bless them, now, hopefully they get to repent and they get forgiveness, but all they care about is getting the job done. And they think increasing manpower and they think increasing material inventory is going to get it there, even though it only extends the project. But they think that pushing and pushing and pushing and pushing in improper ways is going to get it there. So ain't nobody focused on your trade flow. Nobody. You get onto a job, there's zero people. God maybe. No, actually, I know God cares about your trade flow. If you pray and stay connected, that influence will help you out. But there's no human focused on your trade flow. So my suggestion to you is that you have to protect that. So if you're going out there for a week and whatever it is, you've got a job and you got to install this pipe, or you got to go build this road or whatever, you put together a plan. If there is no plan on the job site, if there is no master schedule with Takt planning, if they're shoving weird CPM schedules down your throat or something, you go make a plan for that week with trade flow that gets good workflow, where you can take your 5-person crew and go from area to area in a trade flow. And you sketch that out and you say, all right, I'm going to be in this area day 1, this area day 2, this area day 3. I mean, you can even put it into a Gantt chart or whatever you want, but you put this in an 11 by 17 or 8.5 by 11. You sketch it out, you print it out in your truck or whatever you want to do, and you give it to the superintendent and you say, hey, yeah, I know we don't cover these things. I know that you don't, use the last planner system, or, you don't use your visuals. You don't have weekly work plans, and I'm not criticizing. I'm just telling you, this is what I'm doing. In the absence of a plan, you want us to do our work. This is where we're headed. I'm going to have 5 people here, next day, 5 people here, next day. And these are the things that we need. And you can even write it on your sketch. I need this pipe to be done. I need this pile to be moved out. I need this to be moved out. And you tell that person, and you make sure you keep a copy. You put it in your daily report or whatever, and you say, hey, if this isn't done out of my way by Tuesday, then I'm going to have to demobilize, or I'm going to have to charge you for the overtime because I need that out of my way. You called me on this side. I need trade flow. Now, some of you are probably thinking you can't treat your customer like that. But let me just say this. There was a company that, quite frankly, and I'm not going to tell you who it is, but they weren't doing well in the Phoenix area for years, and they were like the laughing stock of contractors. There were some people that came in from out of town, not that they needed to, it just happened to be the case, but they came from out of town, and they started implementing new techniques. And they would come to the job every week, the PM, then the super would do it too, and they would walk the job, and they would take pictures, because they knew where they were headed in a flow the next week. And they were like, hey, I need this concrete ground down. I need these cliffs attached. I need this. And they would send a report with beautiful pictures. Like, and when I say beautiful, you might be like, well, that sounds kind of corny. No, I'm telling you, they were nice looking pictures. And those pictures, so with the team, I was like, all right, everybody, let's put assignments. Who's going to clear the path for these folks? And we got it done. Now, if you have an a-hole super or an incompetent super, maybe they don't get it done. But you're at least increasing the chances or the likelihood that this happens. So at least 50% of these things will happen because you're telling other trades in the superintendent. And if it doesn't, you get on the horn and you say, hey, Uh, we need this cleared out of the way, or we're going to have to demobilize. I cannot absorb this simply because we don't have an organized job site. You might think that that's mean. It's not. I, as a superintendent and then as a project director, I never, ever, ever took offense when a trade partner was protecting their flow, told me what they needed, did the work right, and communicated daily and finished their work as they went. I never got mad. So if you're a foreman, I'm definitively telling you right now, you have to create a schedule that protects trade flow in addition to workflow. You have to tell people what you need to clear the path to go do your work. That's called substrate or area acceptance. Do not move into that area until it's ready. If you have to call the project manager or the project executive or the director of operations or the chief executive officer and be like, hey, I'm out here, I'm ready to go, I'm jamming, I've eliminated waste, I've got my crews trained, and if that pile's still there, I've told the superintendent, I've told the GC, they're not getting it done. I do not want to go have 5 people out here tomorrow and waste $6,000 of your company, of the company's money, somebody's jet ski, because of company incentives. I'm not going to waste their time. What do I do? Widen your circle, get people involved, figure it out, but do not blindly just go enter in to a bad situation just because we want to take care of a customer. Let me tell you something. You will never take care of a customer properly as you're disrespecting yourself. You will never take care of a customer as you're disrespecting yourself. There is always a way to negotiate a win-win. There is always a way to negotiate a win-win. We do not negotiate wins for them and losses for us. We do not negotiate wins for us and losses for them. We negotiate only win-wins. And if we have to get creative, if we have to have conversations, that's what we got to do. If a customer's like, hey, I want you to come out here and I want you to start doing this work, I want you to start next week. But if you did that, you would clear and grub a whole 320 acres worth of land. And then that land would wait for 3 months, get all muddy, cost a ton of money to the overall project. And instead of like the right way, which would be, hey, see when your material procurement will allow you to ultimately start and only start at the right date, but show the owner why that's important to only show up and start your work just in time. Have the conversation, make it visual, communicate, discuss those things, and fight for the win-win. Don't just blindly do stuff. If everything you hear, this is going to sound like the quote from Anchorman where he's like, 60% of the time it works 100% of the time. But I'm going to tell you, almost 100% of the things you hear from about 60 to 80% of the superintendents in the industry, if you're taking their advice either from the GC or from the owner or the actual people that own the project, you will be doing it wrong. I have never heard an owner's representative tell me, let's work in one process flow. I've never heard them say, let's make sure we have good resource efficiency. I've never heard them say, have the right crew sizes. I've never heard them say, bring materials just in time. They just want to look busy. They're like, bring the materials, bring the people, go out there, spend your money. I don't care. I just want it done. Okay. I've never, ever heard an owner's representative give good advice, ever. And I've never, ever heard an uneducated, meaning a superintendent that doesn't know principles of lean and flow, give good advice. If you're taking advice from other people, you're going backwards. You need to protect your trade flow, and you need to be doing things with a win-win. And there's a neat example. I know I'm going too long on this podcast already, but somebody said, when you're around, and this was a dignitary, and somebody said, you always answer questions well and deal with the press well. How do you do it? And he said, I always answer the question they should have asked. I don't answer their question. I answer the question they should have asked. So when we're out here, I respond to requests that they should have made. On site, I respond to requests they should have made. I do the things that we should have done. I don't go stupidly doing things that don't benefit anybody and reduce my chances for flow. So let me stop ranting here. You have to protect your trade flow. You have to prepare your work. Before you get there, you make sure everything's cleared out of the way and that you're prepared for on your own. When you do the work, because you're not doing it chaotically, you install that work right. You QC that work. You finish that work. You do those tests before you bury that pipe. Whatever it is, you make sure you build it right as you go. And then when you're done, you get done. Do not come back. Do not wait for later. Do not send the patching crews back later. Do not do these things. You finish it one process at a time, one piece at a time, and you finish it as you go. Those are the principles. And so my official recommendation, and I've shown this on the board and also on audio, is that provide that schedule. If they don't have a schedule, if they have a schedule, then adjust their schedule with flow to get you trade flow that works as a win-win. If they don't have a schedule, you make sketches or you give them a Gantt chart or whatever you want that says, hey, this is what I'm doing this week to create trade flow. And then when they come back to you, why aren't you over here? Hey, this was my plan. I communicated it to you. We have to have flow here, but I want you over here. Like they're gonna. Hey, let me give you a secret. Nobody knows this except for me. You need to listen to me. You're in trouble either way. Whether you go do what they say or you do it the right way, you're gonna be in trouble either way. So why not be in trouble and make money? So instead of being like, hey, I'm just going to respond to their stupid requests and like go out there and not follow good production principles, right? And I'm just going to do it. I'm going to get in trouble anyway because I'm going to slow down and then they're going to be all over my butt. Okay. Why not get in trouble and just be like, I'm going to get in trouble anyway. I'm going to find the win-win. I'm going to get this to the contractor because I owe it to them to get it done as fast as I can. But as long as I'm in trouble, I'm going to do it the right way, even though they don't understand what that is. I'm going to go in flow. I'm going to keep my crews consistent. I'm going to shake out materials just in time, according to inventory buffers. I'm going to do this right. That's the secret. That's the secret. When trades are like, I'm doing everything, but we just can't win out there. Well, why don't you start winning? Even though you're pissing them off and they're not happy. That's the secret. You're in trouble anyway. Do the right thing. Okay. So you have to do that. So on a daily basis, communicate what you need. Finish as you go. Don't move forward unless it's right. And have those difficult conversations. Have those difficult conversations. That's why we do boot camps. That's why we do professional development training. So for you foremen out there whom I love, draw a picture of where you're going to be. Provide that schedule, give it to them. Tell them daily what you need and show up with a plan. It's just a lot of people don't know this. I think it was James Madison. Boy, if I get that wrong, people are going to call me and criticize me. But at the Constitutional Convention for the United States, 80% of that came from one person who came prepared, right? And if you don't have a plan, then be prepared to be a part of somebody else's plan. If you're a foreman, you come in with a plan, because I guarantee if you're working for Bad Super, they don't got a plan. They don't. And if they have a plan, it's in their head and it doesn't work because they haven't shared it with anybody. So you come with a plan or else you're going to find yourself as a part of somebody else's, because most of the time, don't be mad, the superintendent doesn't know what he's doing or she's doing. And you have to do what's right. And you have to strive for the win-win. And if you know how to create trade flow, you got to go get it. And you're going to be in trouble for it either way. So go for it and do the right thing. Take care of these contractors. Take care of these clients. Take care of these customers, because you know, and this is the point, you know that if you have workflow and trade flow and logistical flow, and if you keep manpower and materials consistent, and you have consistency and continuity and rhythm, that is going to be your shortest path to winning. On we go.
Please join us next time in elevating the entire construction experience for workers, leaders, and companies coast to coast. If you're enjoying the show, please feel free to share with your construction colleagues and help us spread the word by rating, subscribing, and leaving a review. review on your preferred podcast listening platform. We really appreciate it. We'll catch you next time on the Elevate Construction Podcast.